Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm back here banging my head the entire time the theme song's going on. Can't get over that. My name is Turmentic. Welcome to Let's Talk MetaZoo. Over here to, yes, I did it right this time. Over here to my left is my boy, my friend, Mike CNO from TCG Island. And we are grateful to actually have on tonight the first ever Earth Tower caster, Mr. Abel Jacoby. Abel, thank you so much for joining us, my man.
Oh, yeah, thank you for having me on. This is exciting. I'm a little bit nervous. Don't know how it's going to go, but we'll see.
I keep telling him, like, anytime you get nervous, just always go back to gameplay, because that's what I want to learn from you, my guy. Like, we were talking before we went live, how impressed I was with you as a competitive player. I mean, in my opinion, and I'll probably say this again during the interview, you are one of the most competitive players in MetaZoo currently right now, I feel. Basically, just because of second place at Water and first at Earth. I mean, like,
It's been crazy. It's been a crazy month.
Reckoned with, man. You really are. So yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not going to forget this time. First question I have for you, though, is what is your favorite beastie and why is it Squonk?
I would have to say that Squonk might have been replaced recently for me by. I hope that doesn't cause any problems, but yeah, I think the high hand might be my favorite beastie now.
Nice. I could see that too. The way that Tahan was actually hitting at the Earth Tower was ridiculous. So I want to jump right into this though, because like I said, we only have like an hour and a half or so, and I want to pick your brain. I want to pick your brain so bad. I've been wanting to for the last week and a half. Before we jump into MetaZoo competitive play though, and talk about the Earth Tower and stuff, tell me a little bit about your past. Like, what got you into TCGs? Were you younger? Things like that. Tell me about your TCG past.
I had some Magic cards when I was growing up, really little, but not really. It wasn't until like I guess freshman year of college that I started playing like a lot of Magic the Gathering, and that's where I came from. I've been playing it for 10, 11, 12 years, something like that. Like actually playing, semi-competitively, F&M level at least. I've had some success in bigger tournaments.
I was going to say, do you go to any Grand Prix or anything like that?
I've been to a couple. I lost to some big names, actually, but never really did well there. Yeah. Do you know them? You know any like the big Magic players?
I used to play Magic. I haven't really in the last like 5 or 6 years. I'm starting to get back into it now, working with Super Galactic. But
I played like 3 pros, and I've never won a game against any of them. It's frustrating.
Draft was always my thing, though. I loved the draft. There's just something magical about drafting, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like I've drafted countless times.
So where are you from? Like, anything about, just you personally, as a person, not as a player?
Reading, PA. It's like an hour northwest of Philadelphia, something like that. Right now I'm a student. I just went back to college, actually, and I'm graduating next month.
Nice.
So exciting, but also like a busy time for me. I've spent probably too much time in the last like month and a half playing MetaZoo, actually, like to prepare for these events when I'm supposed to be, passing finals and stuff.
I was going to say studying for finals and things like, trying to get out of school. What are you studying? Like,
IT major.
Nice. That's what I do.
That's awesome, nice. Dude. What do you plan on trying to do after college?
Well, I think like programming and app development is probably like my biggest strength. I want to do something with that. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Nice. Yeah. So what you said you played some Magic. So when did the transition from Magic really kind of turn into MetaZoo?
I first heard about MetaZoo like 1 month before Casters Cup, like something like that. And I picked up the game like as fast as I could to get ready for that event. I didn't know what I was doing, but I guess like that was one of the first time playing for a lot of the players there, so it was, relatively equal playing field, I guess. But yeah, some friends of mine got me into it. They told me about this crazy tournament where they're giving them $250,000 in prizes, and I wanted to go to that, be a part of that. That was a crazy weekend. We actually drove from Pennsylvania to Texas. That was fun.
How long did that take you?
22 hours. 22-hour drive.
Jeez.
Yeah, we didn't sleep either. That was
Yeah.
that was an adventure.
I bet, because you had to drive back too. So I mean, that was 44 hours of driving in a week. That's crazy. So how did you do at Casters Cup?
Top 32.
Okay.
Yeah. I lost to Dylan. Dylan Tran, I think his name is.
Okay.
Metakai.
Yeah.
Metakai.
Shout out,
Right.
Metakai.
I think that's right. It's hard to remember.
What kind of deck were you running?
Dark. I was the only player I saw to make day 2 that was playing a dark deck.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think it was in the dark deck that actually helped you get to day 2 at Casters Cup?
I had 4 Hateful Demise. I'm trying to remember card names. No, he's the best. But yeah, that kills Quetzalcoatlus. That was important. And it also kills Loveland Frogman. And that was the 2 cards that mattered. Yeah.
Did you get to play in any of the pseudo environments on day 2?
Oh yeah, we all did. I changed it up one round and played the Frost deck at the North Pole. Yeah. That was crazy. I might be the only person to ever win a match with Woolly Mammoth in their deck.
Now, did you actually build that on? Because I know that they gave you guys a little bit of time or so to build decks when they assigned the pseudo environments. Did you build that, or did you already have it pre-built?
I built it. Well, I built it like after round 1, I guess, because I saw that one of the environments was the North Pole, so I thought I should prepare in case I go there. But I didn't know what to do for any of the others, so I just played Dark deck 4 rounds and Frost deck once, and I won with it. That was
That's pretty awesome. I'm kind of bummed I didn't get to go to. I'll be honest. I didn't even really know that much about Casters Cup because back then I wasn't really playing. I was just collecting and reading in comics and stuff like that. But I'm really bummed that I didn't get to go to Casters Cup because it sounds every time anybody talks about it, it sounds like it was a blast.
I wasn't fond of the Vanilla Ice concert. But
well, that was every Collecticon last year, though. So
yeah.
Now I will say though, the turtles coming out there and dancing on the stage was actually pretty awesome. Like I got into like Go Ninja Go with the turtles, but
oh gosh.
Oh, man, dude, you should have seen me. There has to be footage somewhere of me going crazy at the Charlotte Collecticon. Like, yeah, hide that footage.
So do you plan on participating in Flame Tower?
I think so. If I can make it, if I can get qualified. I'm still not qualified.
Are you trying to make it to as many towers as possible, or are you?
Yeah, I think that's the plan now. Yeah, I got to keep playing now.
Nice.
I might be definitely. You need to check, but I'm almost confident that now with you being a tower caster, you are technically qualified. I think for all the other towers. I don't know. I remember vaguely talking with Sean about that, and Sean saying like, yeah, he has an invitation to each of the towers. So I think.
All right. That'd be cool.
I think I saw that in the MZO chat too. I believe. I do remember seeing something along the lines of that. But so now at Casters Cup, like you're a primary dark player, you said?
I guess that's fair. I mean, when I approach this, I don't have like a favorite color or a favorite faction. It's I play to win. I play to win. Like that is me. So I will play whatever strategy I think is going to give me the best chance.
Nice. So how do you feel being the Earth Tower and having to utilize an Earth deck at Casters Cup? Do you think that's going to benefit you, or do you think that's going to put a little bit more of a lot more effort into figuring out strategy, I guess?
Well, yeah, it's a restraint. It can really only hurt me unless they're going to give some kind of bonus to compensate for it, but they haven't really gone over what the rules are going to be exactly. Like, what is representing that aura type? Does it mean I have to play 40 Earth pages or 1? Like, it can't obviously be somewhere in the middle, right? But yeah, I don't know how it's gonna be.
Yeah, I'm interested how that's going to work out with you guys, especially if like you end up actually any of you all end up winning a second tower, because at that point I remember them saying in chat you'd have the option of being able to represent one or the other. But what about if you want to potentially represent both? Like, would they be able to make some sort of special rule to allow like 30? It has to be like 40 and 40 maybe, or something like that. So that could be some pretty interesting combinations.
Yeah, that could be interesting. And whatever it is, I'm down for it. I love deck building challenges like this. The towers are 100% my thing, even more than just the base game.
Awesome.
Yeah, I might have done it a little bit differently, but it's a good challenge, and I like it.
The towers format, in my opinion, is my favorite out of everything, just because of the craziness of the Terra bonuses and how it takes a 1-drop card like Hine and literally makes it to where it's a powerhouse where it's swinging for 140, 145 every turn. Like the towers format. It's literally what's gotten me really excited to continue playing. So I can only imagine what it's like for you, someone who actually understands the meta so much better than I do.
Well, it's not even just that, but like, so if like, so there's probably somebody in the chat or somebody watching this right now that's like probably wanting to, because you, like you just said, you don't really have a specific aura type that you would necessarily say as your primary. So what kind of advice could you give somebody to who's wanting to compete in a tower and actually wanting to even shoot to make top 32, not even necessarily win the whole thing, but just get it to where they make the next day? What would be something you would recommend? Like a lot of playtesting or a lot of
playtesting's a big part of it. Like one major thing that I had to get over was like just checking your ego at the door and be willing to admit that you need to change your strategy or something's not working. You think you have the best deck, and then you go and test against your friend and it doesn't play out the way you think it did. You need to like adjust and figure out why it's not working, not just keep bashing your head against the wall telling yourself you're a genius and you have you're just getting unlucky. You can't tell yourself that.
Yep, I agree with that 100%.
No, that's how long did you actually play test the deck that you played at the tower?
Not nearly as long as I would have liked. There's only so much time, and it's hard for my group to get together and actually test. We're all busy, and we live pretty far apart too. We don't have a good local scene. I'm hoping I can get that started. I did become a metazoologist, but
yeah, I feel that over here too, with us being on the Outer Banks, like we're closest place that actually sells anything is like 3 hours away. And so yeah, we're slowly, and we're doing it, but we're slowly trying to actually build a community here in order to get more people playing, so we can have more events and the qualifiers and stuff like that. But I always have to remind myself too, though, that we're still at the early stage of MetaZoo as of a whole. So right. I appreciate each and every single person that goes out and tries to create some sort of a community around them, around like where they live, because like there's a lot of people who are like, oh, well, there's nowhere I can buy stuff, or there's nowhere I can play, I guess I'm not going to do it. And it's like, no, you can always reach out to the local LGSs. You can always try to find like a community center. You can always try to do all of these things if you're very passionate about trying to build a community. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm thinking about actually using some of my product that I'm getting, the prizes, to just put them up as prizes for our local events. Maybe we can get something like that going. I don't know if people would be into like buy a box and play a sealed event, or what the pricing or how that would work out, but I could do a little bit cheap.
No, that's actually real. That's actually cool because because if you winning, you get like what is it? It's something crazy like 30,000 in product or something.
30,000 product.
Yeah, 30,000 in product for first and 15 for second, so 45.
You got 45 in the last 2 months. That's crazy.
That's a good amount of product.
And I love the fact that you're talking about like either giving it away or doing it at, like for little costs and stuff like that in order to help build a community. Like that's
I would be very generous with it for sure. I don't know what the plan is at this point. I don't even have it yet, but when it gets here, I'll figure something out.
That's super, super awesome. So I gotta ask you because it's the question that's been burning a hole in me for the last week and a half. What gave you the idea to use that Terra?
This is a funny question because it wasn't my idea. It was another member of my team. Someone posted on I think Thursday, 2 days before the tournament, in like our group chat, and then while I was at the gala, 2 people from our group stayed behind and just tested it, and they said that to win when you're going second is so hard. You have to like switch into this strategy. It's like it gave us the best chances. That's what we found, and they gave that to me. And yeah, I took it, and I won in that game in the finals with it. It was,
it's a really good.
It wasn't. I'd have to give a shout to I guess Ken Adams. He's another person on my team. It was him the night before the tournament that told me to put it in my sideboard.
And what team do you represent?
I don't think we really have a team name.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
We're just a loose group of players. We never know like if we're gonna be able to make it to the next thing, and it's people are coming and going.
Oh yeah.
And just so everybody that's either listening now or listening in the future actually understands what that Terra did was the majority of people actually in the tower were playing giant decks, and giants for the most part cost like 5 or 6 aura, and you could use certain abilities or certain other beasties in order to reduce that cost in order to play them for like 2 for 3 things, make it very easy to play these big beasties for little amounts. And the Terra that we're referring to that I'm kind of geeking out about it's called what? Whiteout, correct? I think.
Blinding Blizzard, I think.
Blinding Blizzard, and it's the snowing Terra. It's the new snowing Terra from Native, and what it does is it makes every beastie cost its actual cost. You cannot reduce it. And in the Giants format, in the Earth Tower format, with all of these Giants being played, it was huge, big brain move. Like I keep saying, I feel like it was one of the biggest brain moves I've seen in MetaZoo, because it honestly would have shut down like 95% of the decks that were out there.
One of the challenges with it is like you can't play the Giants if you're going to play that strategy. So I had to switch out like 10, 11 cards, something like that in the finals. You can see me struggling to do it on camera. Like I couldn't figure it out at some points. But it's being able to play first was so big. Like we needed that Hail Mary, Yeah.
That's definitely a big thing I've heard from everybody that competes at the towers, is that if you going first is a major like a must, like I wouldn't say a must, but it definitely gives you an upper hand for sure. So
yeah, I mean, I kind of beat the odds at some point, and it's hard for me to be unbiased. Like I did get lucky at this tower. You can't win a card game tournament without some amount of luck.
Yes.
So I have to say that. But like day one, I went 1-6 for winning the die roll to go first. I don't know. We got there somehow.
I was actually thinking this during the tower too. I honestly almost would say that it was harder really to go first, in my opinion, and win, because the way it seemed to work out was like if you went first, you'd play a Tenehune, and you could awaken it if you wanted to swing with it or not. It didn't. That didn't really matter. Your opponent would then go, and if they dropped 2 of them and lightning in a bottled 1 and killed yours, it was almost impossible, in my opinion, to be able to catch back up, because at that point you have to have 2 Tenehines in your hand and 2 lightning in a bottles, almost in essence, in order to be able to respond, because they would just kill each other one for one.
Well,
And
you have the burrow creatures to claw your way back in. You play them, pick off a T high hand 1 turn. Are you saying it correctly, or am I saying it wrong?
I'm not sure, to be completely honest with you.
I've always said Tehehan. So
Tenehine.
All right,
It's
all right,
one of
fair
the.
enough.
It's like Menahune, like.
Yeah, but I mean, you said the person who plays first plays out 1, and then the second person can play out 2. I'm guessing that's off of like Absorb Aura or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need the second mana. If they have 2 T high hand and an aura page and Absorb Aura and a lightning in a bottle, yes, then the player who goes second can win. But that is a big ask. Maybe when you were testing, like the person who was going second was getting lucky, because that, I can tell you, is not how that generally goes out. Getting to play first was definitely an advantage there.
This entire tower, man, I kid you not, whenever I put out my aura effects, they would always absorb them, and then whenever I had absorbed in my hand, they never put out an aura effect.
Yeah, that's bad luck. I mean,
oh my god, it was so brutal. Oh my god, it was so brutal. I had a blast. Don't think I didn't, but it was just one of those where it was such a brutal day.
So, not to give out too much of your strategies, because I know a lot of players don't want to, they want to keep certain things under wraps. But when you're looking at a deck or when you're play testing different things, are you looking for? Do you do it as, I'm going to find the most powerful hand, or are you doing it based off of, can I build the most defensive hand against these powerful decks? Right? Because it sounds like you do the second thing with the way you were saying that you wouldn't be able to play the Giants. So you had those other cards where you wouldn't be able to play it, but you knew a lot of people were playing Giants. So is that kind of the route you were taking with that, was to just bat or play defensive against the more powerful hand that a lot of people were using?
I guess in some ways that's true. Yeah, the sideboard strategy to switch out the Giants for blinding blizzard is definitely something that fits into that. Yeah, in general, for deck building, you want to be just doing the most powerful thing. You don't want to be so reactive usually. That was why that was a sideboard strategy and not in the main deck, because if we played that strategy in the main deck, we could easily just lose to Piazza Bird, which isn't slowed down by it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, the rest of our deck, we don't have the Giants to fight the Piazza Bird. We just have like Cement Worms, and it's not gonna work out.
Yeah.
So we still wanted to play the Giants first, because that's the most powerful thing we found you could be doing in that format.
So
does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. When you were making your deck, so like, right before this tower, it was, Native was releasing, right? So everybody was like scrambling to get Native product, to rip it, to add it to their decks and things like that. What was like one of the first cards you saw and you were just like, I have got to have this card in my deck?
Kiwok was one of the last cards that I saw that I really was about. I think I'm saying that right. But yeah, it's the Forest Earth Giant. Haste kills a T high hand is so good. So good at getting back in. It's so good whether you're going first or second. It's just that one was amazing. And the other one, the Dark Earth Giant, was phenomenal.
Zavowitz
Salvitz. I just gave up and started calling it Dizo.
Nice. I like that, Dizo. It was so bad. I didn't even see the Forest Beastie. The Forest Giant, until it was played against me, and I'm like, what is that? And they're like, oh yeah, it comes from one of the decks. And I'm like, what? And so like yeah, the fleet, because of it having fleet, it was deadly. It was super deadly.
Mm-hmm.
So mad I actually didn't see that before the tower. What would you actually say, in your opinion, was the MVP card at the Earth Tower?
That's kind of a tough one. That I guess I would say Dizo. Yeah, I would. Yeah, just so powerful, so good with lightning in a bottle. Can
Were you
finish
running
off
any
your
Giant's
opponent.
Blood?
Can kill anything. What?
Were you running any Giant's Bloods or anything?
No Giant's Blood. We found that, I mean, he's already like 240 power, was it? That's enough.
You throw a Giant's Blood on it, and it was like 400, 420 right off the bat. It's like, oh my god. Did you run any of the Behemoth Stampedes? That was the new native card.
I saw that card. I don't think I did play against anybody who was on that.
Okay.
I considered it. I think it's probably not for this tower. Probably not good enough. I don't know.
There were some people that were able to get it to pull off. I had it in my spell book, but I never once actually honestly drew it at a time where it would have done anything. The thought was amazing, because what the card does, in case you guys don't know, is it deals damage directly to the opposing caster for the total life points of all the beasties you have under your control. So if you have a bunch of the bigger giants out there, you could do 600, 700 direct damage actually to the opposing player. But I couldn't ever get it to actually work the way that it in theory should have.
Yeah, it definitely has potential at certain positions to just outright kill your opponent, like almost out of nowhere. But it requires you to have a lot of beasties in play already. And if you have a lot of beasties in play already, you're probably already winning. And that's that's, I guess, the biggest problem with the card for me.
That makes sense. Yeah. What? So I've seen, and I know I can play MetaZoo, and I'm nowhere near as strategic as someone like yourself, or a lot of the other guys that have been doing this for a long time. MetaZoo was the first TCG I learned how to play, so I still have a lot of testing to do to get more strategic like you guys are. But one thing that I did hear about is the card Excavation, right? Would you say that that's like a too much of a gamble card, or was that kind of a smart route that a lot of people were taking?
I think it was probably smart. I played one in my sideboard. I probably should have been playing more than one. I don't know if I would have played a main deck. But yeah, what that card does, like if your opponent is going first and they play Aura Page, T high hand, you have an Aura Page and a T high hand and like nothing else. It gives you something else you can do, first of all, because you don't want to just play out your guy and have him get killed.
Yep.
So that is something that can potentially get you back in the game, because then maybe you get to resolve your 3 mana guys first, like Dizo, 6 mana, but 3 less. So you get to play him on like turn 2 then, and that is a way back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Excavation was good. I probably should have been playing more, but it was close. My list was pretty good. I can't be too upset.
Still worked out for you.
How often did you side deck?
So, Excavation, I think, came in every game when I was going second, and was out every game I knew I was going to be in the play.
Okay.
That's smart. That is smart. Yeah.
So did you actually side deck in between each of the games? Not just with Excavation, but other ones inside of your archive.
Yeah, I think I did side deck every game. I would probably. That's probably right. I guess if I was ever on the play like 2 games in a row, I probably wouldn't switch anything the second time. Something like that.
One of the cards I saw you guys actually using a lot, the ones that a lot of people who plays top 32 was Tommy Knockers too, and I didn't realize how strong Tommy Knockers was. Was it having the spirit trait at all, and was it difficult to go against other people who had it? Like, did it actually, do you feel like, give you a leg up on other people?
I feel like Tommy Knocker did give me a slight edge. I was expecting it to be even better. I got tripped up on the Spirit Aura cost a couple of times, I have to say. Yeah, but it was more powerful. Some people were playing like Earthquake to destroy burrowed beasties, which I wasn't expecting. And like Tommy Knocker really shone there, shines.
Because it would survive, yeah.
Yeah.
So were you running any like fusions or anything like that in your deck?
Yeah, I had a couple. I had the Spirit one. What's it called? I don't remember the name. The Spirit Fusion Aura. Yeah, 2 of those, 2 Prisms, and 4 Tommy Knocker. Trying to cast off of.
Okay.
Trying to see if I had one of those fusion auras right here, but I don't.
Do I have? I
can find it. Hold on, I'll find it first.
If I have it, you probably will. Actually, knowing you, like I have my deck right here. Haha. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I have it right in front of my face.
Oh, you found it?
I think so. The Unearthly Stratum Fusion Aura.
Yes.
Yep. I just found mine too. Yep. Unearthly Stratum. There it is.
That's awesome.
So whenever you were playing, the last round, and it got deemed that that it was going to have to get replayed afterwards. What was going through your head like around that time?
It was a tough moment. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it too much. It was what's done is done. It worked out for me in the end. I understand why they had to do it. The rule book, like as it's written, it makes sense. But I think that I don't know. Maybe they could just add another rule because at some point the match is over, right? Like we put in the results and then we get called back. Like they call me back like 10, 15 minutes later. That's at what point is it round? At what point is it final?
Yeah.
Fair.
And it just goes back to what Rob was saying earlier too. It's still new. Like we're still in the beginning phases of this, right? So and I think these towers are really going to shape, how all future. I think towers are going to maybe even slowly change up a little bit here and there as we get closer to Caster's Cup. So, and I do see like in the MZO chat, there's always corrections being made to the rule book. They're always updating it, things like that. So, maybe that's something that, to get more clarification on, I guess, and things like that. But again, I do see it as, there are going to be slight changes to things that need to be made. I do think it seemed like both of you guys came back out, and I didn't see any frustration, and stuff like that. So whether you guys had it or you were hiding it, you hit it well if it was there, and you went through it and still came out. So I mean, that was still cool, man. Still cool. I just didn't know.
It even goes a little bit further than like you were saying though about MetaZoo just being new, because it wasn't even just about MetaZoo being new. It was also the native cards being so new. I mean, they had only been released technically for like 2 or 3 days at that point. And I've been semi-vocal about this too, where because of what happened and because of the ruling that actually was that they went with, that is a hard ruling that will have implications moving forward, because now it means that anytime anything enters the arena at any point, it circumvents and pretty much can negate other things that are already still in effect, or other things that are, if you will, to like use almost the Magic term, like on the stack. And so it's a very hard ruling, and I don't know if we'll see a lot of repercussions from it soon, but I know that ruling will be actually mentioned in the future for sure, because again, it clearly now, anytime anything is in the arena, it automatically takes effect. It automatically trumps anything that was before it. So I will say though too, I was really impressed, and this is something I wanted to actually say earlier. I think you too, Abel, I think you have changed the meta of the towers a little bit, because I fully see almost any Terra being able to be utilized in a tower format now. because of you being able to pull off Born of this Earth. So that, especially going into towers like Dark Tower, things like that, I really see how, because of you being able to win and have Born of this Earth in your spell book, there's going to be a lot of people who are actually going to be trying to use Born of this Earth now in order to bring out terras that aren't active in the actual tower at that moment, in order to actually bring out win conditions. So
yeah, it's a cool card for sure. There's definitely a lot of potential. I'd probably say more potential in the base game because it already gives you, for the most part, terras you need. But then there are the special terra that have those effects that can really change it. Yeah, it was a last minute addition for me, but yeah, I mean it was a good card.
Oh, dude, it was brilliant. Like I said, it was brilliant. I was still like my buddy Slippy Napkin and I, we were geeking out a little bit about it just because of it. We're fully convinced, Born of this Earth is viable in Towers format, almost just as almost in my opinion, just as viable as Possessed Aura, just because there could be certain, like I said, certain win conditions based off of having certain terras out, but only one of them's active in the tower, and I see that shaking things up for sure in the future. Have you already picked what is it, the Noble Four? Is that what they're called, to help you defend the tower?
I've got like a solid one. Yeah, I mean, I got names to consider. I don't know. Our group, we don't know who is going to be available necessarily. I mean, I gotta think people would make time for that. It's a pretty cool thing to be a part of.
There's
like that has been
a team from MetaZoo that represents one of the 10 towers. 100%, sign me up.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I have some ideas for that, but I mean,
we don't really know if you need the Noble Four picked 2 before Caster's Cup, or like I don't know. I'm interested to actually see. I hope that with the Forest Tower being postponed until the end of the year, that over the course of this next month, we kind of get more clarification on exactly how the Tower Caster and the Noble Four will operate moving forward. How the Caster's Cup decks actually potentially should or will have to be built as well. If the Noble Four that actually help you defend the tower, do they actually also get into Caster's Cup, or is it just that they're going to be top cut of the tower event itself next year? Is it still 32 plus the Noble Four NU? Like, I'm really interested to really get a lot of the nitty gritty answers when it comes to the towers format, how it's going to actually operate when we get into year 2.
Yeah, the Noble Four, as you said, like I think it's one of the coolest ideas for tournaments like I've ever heard. Like the idea of me defending it and having that, I'm super excited about that. I want to see what how it works. I want to see how it works. I'm eager to, yeah.
Dude,
you're stamped in MetaZoo history, man. Like your name is that's cool, man. I get chills even just thinking about that, and it's not even me.
Everything about the Towers format this year has been amazing because, like you just said, it is the first of all of them. And I mean, I can't wait until Caster's Cup. And I know we'll only actually have 6 of you guys at that point crowned, but I can't wait until Caster's Cup and actually get like what I've been calling a class photo of all of the casters. Like before we actually rotate into season 2 of the Towers format, we need to make sure that somehow we get a class photo of the 10 of you, because like Mike just said, I mean, this is literal history. This is the beginning of what I said it during the Water Tower video. I can't wait to look back in 5 years and actually see like, wow, look where we've come with. I mean, because at the end of the day, the Towers format is anyone that ever loved Pokemon. It is the dream of theirs, because the Towers format in essence is MetaZoo's version of Pokemon gyms. And that idea, like I'm glad that I'm older because if I was way younger, I 100% would spend all of my money and go in debt in order to go to every single one of the Towers event. Because I mean, I've always wanted to go to Pokemon gyms and compete. I love the idea of you being the Earth Tower caster, being like in essence the head one in charge of the tower, and you have your 4 people, your noble 4 that work underneath you, that work with you, that help you defend the tower and your title. Like I love that entire concept. Like I can't wait until we actually have all 10 of you guys named as the tower casters. I'm coming for Dark though. I'm coming for Dark. I'm saying that right now.
You're gonna have to fight me for that one.
Don't worry. I mean, knowing your track record, you're gonna definitely place in every single tower that you decide that you want to go to. Like,
It's not that simple. I mean, I actually had to play Sean again to even make day 2.
really?
It was off camera. It almost probably should have been a feature match. That would have been cool to see that rematch take place. But yeah. I mean, I almost didn't make it. Like, it's not a given. You do have to get. Yeah, there is an element of luck. You have to.
Yes, there is an element of luck, but like I said at the beginning of the interview, and I'm not trying to diminish any of the other major competitive players out there or teams, but it does, to me at least, speak volumes that out of all of the names that we've come to know from the competitive scene, you are the one that has placed second, and then you took the second tower completely, and you won that competition. So I mean, I love that you're humble, but you definitely have deserved, in essence, some bragging rights, because like I said, I think you are one of the strongest competitive players right now actually in MetaZoo. Just because, and I mean, and you can put a lot of that, if you want to, on your teammate who actually encouraged you to actually use that Terra. But honestly, at the end of the day, it was still you playing that spell book. It was still you making those decisions. It was still you deciding how you were going, your point of attack, if you will. So don't diminish that at all, because you are, like I said, a very, very talented player. And I can't wait to actually see what you do with the other towers.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to competing at them. It's fun. Like, I had the last 3 rounds of the tournament, there were points where I had really difficult decisions to make in all of them, and I'm really proud of the way I played too. Because the other thing, if you look back at the water tower, the finals, I did not play well. I played horrible in those finals. I don't know if you've seen that video, but
no, you feel like you made some poor choices actually in that last match.
Yeah. Game 1, I was like stable at 50 life for a long time, and I could have just held my guys back, and I think I would have won. It's hard to say for certain, but yeah. And then game 2, the game I won, I actually played worse, but I guess I won't beat myself up too much for that because I got the win anyway.
You think there's like extra pressure
too on that last match for the title? Like I could see how focused that both you and Horrenda, both of you were so focused on what you were doing. It I don't know. Did any of the outside noise or commentation or anything like that was any of that a distraction, or were you just so laser focused on the arena?
I was pretty focused this time around. I was feeling better. Yeah, I guess, Mike, you said something about pressure. Yeah, I don't know if that's what got to me at day 1 or day 2 of the water tower. I was getting tired by the end of it. You know, being on the road, sleeping in a hotel. Yeah, playing how many rounds of it, and then the finals, I was falling apart a little bit. But this time around, I did a little bit better.
We had an extra round at Water Tower, and I think we actually started later at Water Tower too. I felt like it definitely went later than the Earth Tower, but again, we only had 7 instead of 8 rounds on day 1 at Earth Tower.
So
what were you saying, Mike?
When it for Water Tower and for Earth Tower, at the beginning of day 2, where did you place in top 32 for both towers? Starting, where was your starting?
For this one, I was 20 something. I'm not sure exactly, and I don't think I remember for the water tower.
Okay.
Day one of the water tower went pretty well.
Gotcha. Okay.
Is there anything that you would have done different, looking back now, on the Earth Tower spellbook?
The Earth Tower spellbook. Yeah, I was playing Tuttle Bottoms Monster. I didn't know how popular Cement Worm was going to be, but Cement Worm just like one ups the card. He has exactly enough health to survive a hit from it, and he can kill Tuttle Bottoms Monster. So it didn't line up well. I would have had to play. I should have played Cement Worm. And
I had a feeling worms were going to be popular because when I had got native in, I had a million players DMing me saying like, "Are there worms? Are there worms? Are there worms? Are there worms?" And I was like, "Gosh, everybody wants to know about these worms, man!" Like that was the only thing they wanted to know about worms, and they wanted to know about fusion or a hit ratio. Those were the two main things. So I was like, "Yeah, there's worms in native. We're probably going to see them regardless at the tower." But yeah,
those giants, man.
Those
giants, like, oof.
Yep, and that was the reason I played Tuttle Bombs, because we thought they'll be playing a lot of giants, and we can have him. He has paralyzed, so he can win that coin flip and actually take down a giant, which is something Cement Worm can't do. But Cement Worm's still just the better card. I should have been playing it.
I had a question.
Yeah,
it was.
There is another worm coming. Uh-oh. What worm is that?
What worm is that, Gale?
Can't
think of that.
Yeah. No, I've been I'm gonna start like I wanna, well, I'm trying to decide whether to compete. I usually run like a lightning deck. So I've been thinking about playing in Kansas City. Even though I know Metakai is going to be there and probably wipe me out he's Metakai. Yeah, shout out to Dylan, man, he's a good guy. But yeah, he's the Kets guy, and but yeah, so I'm going to start playtesting a little bit more too. So some of the questions I'm asking you are just for B as well, man, not just the viewers. So I think it's really cool, and you want to know something is like for anybody that's watching that hasn't played. I can tell you that, again, I never played a TCG in my life, but then once I learned how to play MetaZoo, it's almost like you get this addictive feeling to it. There he is.
I knew you summoned him as soon as you
said that. So, but I can tell you that once I got the format down and once I got like all the priorities down, like and things like that of when to play and what you can and can't play and strategic and when to not play a certain card and still just hold it for right now. And like you learn how to actually play somewhat strategic. It's fun, man. It is legitimately fun. It can be a bit discouraging trying to learn, but jump in, play some games. And I swear I learned from playing. So, but when did you actually start playing MetaZoo? I don't know if you've already answered that, but did you start playing? Like which set was out when you started playing?
It would have been a little bit after Wilderness was released, I guess. Yeah, learning the game. It is a little bit tough to learn the game. There's a lot of rules, and like a lot of the cards tend to have 3 traits, 1 or 2 terror bonuses, an activate ability, a contract ability, the attack that might do something. It's a lot of information for the new player. But yeah, once you do learn those things, it becomes like one of the deepest strategy games I've ever played because all of that adds up, and it's a tough game to play 100% correctly. I don't know that I've ever lost a match of this game where I have made no mistakes. I don't think that has happened.
Okay, that makes sense. Like you're right though too, because anytime I explain what MetaZoo is to somebody when they come into the shop, is I always tell them it's it's easy to learn like checkers, but it's hard to master like chess. where you can get the basics in the matter of 10 minutes, but to truly understand how this card interacts with this card, which then causes this card to do something else, which you can play on 2 turns down the line, stuff like that. Like, you really, I mean, I spend so much time actually looking at the lore on the stuff and things like that, that I'm always blown away of how, and like, shout out to Emilio and to Logan and the rest of the R&D team. I'm always blown away how a lot of the attacks resemble pieces of the lore of whatever the beastie is or the item is or something like that as well too. And you're right, it's probably, in my opinion, one of the most, I don't like using the word complicated, but one of the most intricate card games that I've ever seen before, just because of all of the different effects, from fourth wall effects to the traits to the Terra bonuses. And I'm very vocal about this too, where I feel like all it's going to take is one person who's never played the game before to come in and start looking at it again with fresh eyes to figure out combos that we haven't seen or haven't thought of, just because we're so focused on what it is right now, and they'd be coming into it and looking at it brand new. Like, I love the intricacy that MetaZoo has when it comes to the actual competitive format.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think I've also liked, I think a lot of the new the decks, the pre-made decks they sell, they now have like simpler creatures in them, and I think that's really good for like new players getting into the game. They can pick it up, and they don't have to, do so much reading.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do with some of the older cards.
No, I've noticed that where like they'll have like 1 or 2 Terra bonuses. Like, all of the beasties in the deck will actually have a Terra bonus, but only one of them will actually have one that correlates through most of it, and they'll have like one ability and maybe like one or 2 traits. Like, yeah, I like how, and again, that's why I always use the phrase, it's easy to learn like checkers, but it's hard to master like chess.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other, again, huge shout out to Logan and Emilio and the rest of the R&D team, Fajir and all of them too, because they've made everything as well coming up to native still work well with everything from Cryptic Nation forward up to it. And with it being the only TCG that I can think of to where there is no banned card, quote unquote, I mean, everything from Cryptic Nation all the way up to native is legal standard play. It's impressive. And again, I go back to what I said before about how all that's going to take is one new person looking at it. It's impressive that they've been able to keep the consistency across the board as well, while still adding in new beasties and new like tactics and like this, like native, where it's very giant and deity heavy. Like, I like how they've incrementally made it more complex, but still, I said, like, I mean, I don't know, I like kept it easy to learn how to play. What's up, Dean? So I don't know, I'm impressed. I'm excited to see what happens with War. I'm excited to actually see what happens with SCP, 7Cs, things like that. I'm interested though when it comes to Yokai Island. I really feel, especially with them introducing the new aura type, I think it's wind in Yokai, I kind of really feel that Yokai should be its own format and Cryptic Nation should be its own format. And every time they come out with a new block, oh, Dean, look at you, guy. Congrats to the Earth Tower winner. Legend. Dean from MetaZoo Nation. I really hope that each of the blocks is its own format, and you can have eventually, if you want to, you can even call, you don't have to wait for it, but you can have a Cryptid World format where it incorporates everything from Cryptic Nation, Yokai, and Grimm's Kingdom. But I'd be really excited, especially with the introduction of a new aura type, for it to be individual formats. But I don't know how they're going to do that moving forward, to be honest with you. It's another theory.
You have a lot of those.
You're full of them, bro.
I'm full of theories, man. That's my shtick.
I know.
But I'd love your thoughts though on what you think competitive play is going to look like in the future, especially with the introduction of native, because I know Earth Tower is the only time that we've actually seen native really in play. And so, yeah, I'd love your thoughts on what you think of native and how you think native is going to fit into the overall meta.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a powerful set. The not just the fusion auras, but some of the other what's the term for them? What are the hard to get cards called in this one? The something 19.
The Tribal 10. Tribal 10 or Native 19.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think those cards are pretty solid this time around, for the most part at least. A lot of applications in competitive play.
Okay.
Have you noticed
that? I don't tell you all my secrets, but yeah.
No.
I have my eye on a couple cards.
Now, I know a big thing that a lot of... So when the players were, like, DMing me about fusion auras and stuff like that, I went through 9 boxes straight and didn't pull a single fusion aura. And I know a lot of people were like, oh, man, that's not good for the players, right? Well, the next 6 that I opened, I pulled 7 fusion auras out of it. So, and then multiple people, I know people that pulled 3 fusion auras out of a single booster and things like that. And I saw a lot of the players' attitudes change really quick on that. So, do you think it was a good move by MetaZoo to place like a good amount of fusion auras throughout all the SKUs? Do you think that in my opinion, it's a great thing for the collector, but it's also a great thing for the player. And I think MetaZoo they're in this thing where basically, with MetaZoo when it first came out, it was, we had the Pokemon boom, right? And everybody was into the collectability and value and stuff like that. And that's when MetaZoo came. So I feel like at first there was a lot of players or a lot of collectors that came into the scene at first. And then as the game grew, they started to hammer on to the player side of it. Do you see a trend going towards the players more now versus the collector side?
Maybe, yeah. I'm not exactly sure. It'd be better for you to talk to someone else on my team about this. I don't do too much of the collector side. Actually trying to pick up the cards we need for the tournament. But I think for this event it was rough getting cards, but yeah, in the future it's gonna be a lot easier as people get their hands on native. I think we're in pretty good shape. You can't make it too easy to get the cards, and you can't make it too hard to get the cards. And
absolutely.
I think we're on track there. I think we've hit a good balance because there are definitely good cards at bronze and silver rarity too, right? The commons and uncommons. There are definitely good cards down there, and that helps the competitive scene too.
Yeah, I was a little nervous at first when I was getting my hit ratio on fusion auras, and then when I saw them just coming out like crazy, that it actually made me really happy. So
I love the fact that they can be found in almost every single SKU though too.
Yes.
Because it not only does that spur more of it to be open, but it also spurs the people buying spell books or release decks, other things like that, in order to actually try to pull some of these cards. The spell books, I have to just say, are probably the best I have ever seen them. The 2 that I've opened, one of them I had 4 full hollows in it. The other one I had 7 full hollows in a spell book. I never heard of that actually ever happening before. I wanted to talk a little bit though about what your question, Mike, that you had asked him about the collectability versus the players. This set, like Abel was saying, this set has enough power in it for players, and not just the super gold or like rare gold cards or the native 19, anything like that, but just some of the basic simple cards like Giant's Blood, in my opinion, is huge. I don't know why. I really love that card. But it's also, in my opinion, this set does kind of like catch the collectors a little bit as well too, just because of the vibrancy of the colors that are actually when we were talking to Chris the other day, and we were talking about the colors that they used in this set and how much detail they were allowed to give for a lot of these beasties, for a lot of the cards actually in native and stuff like that. This, in my opinion, is probably the best set that MetaZoo actually has come out for both collectors and players, because I feel like they really hit the mark for both of them and not just focused on one or the other like they kind of have before with some of the other sets.
Yeah,
you might be right.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
I'm sitting here I'm just staring at Atabey and the twins, and both of these are super strong cards. I mean, yes, these are native 19, but I mean, again, just the colors on them, the way that they actually drew them. It's, I don't know. I know I get really excited when it comes to pretty much almost any MetaZoo product, but specifically with native, I've been very impressed with everything that I've seen so far with it, just because, again, the power scale that they have, being able to implement the new, and they're not really new because we've had some of them before, but the focus on giants, on deities, they gave a lot of bear and wolf love in this set as well too. I mean, this was a really, I mean, medicine stick, Doom Koala, medicine stick is OP in my opinion. I fully expect to see medicine stick actually being played a lot in a lot of competitive decks, just because of the way that it can take off status effects. But yeah, it gets me really excited for War also coming up in a couple months as well too, because we're getting this type of power scale with native, and War is being billed as the big final finale battle between Light and Dark and Cryptid Nation. That set, I can't wait to see what kind of power level that set has based off of what native I've seen so far with native.
Yeah. Native in itself, man. Just the thought behind the set is just crazy. I mean, it's the fact that 33 different tribes that are referenced. There's, I mean, the secret rares are done by a Native American artist, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's the way the hollow patterns are, the way that they purposely did the coloring behind the hollow patterns to make them pop harder, and just so it just, and then again, like you're saying, the bronze and the silvers, being playable cards as well, and it's to try to break down the level of thought that has to go into something like that to make everyone happy, which is a very hard thing to do. You can't mm-hmm. make everyone happy, but you want to get as close as possible, right? I think it's underrated for the amount of thought that went in. Wouldn't necessarily say underrated. I just think it needs to be applauded a lot more, man, because I did not expect native to be my favorite core set, and it has mm-hmm. become my favorite core set. And it's just because, and it's not just, and I'm a collector, but I started off as a collector. I should say I definitely transitioned into other things as well. But it's you appreciate a lot more things, and I just can't. I can't even put it into words. Just seeing this set, I was like, this is phenomenal, man. This is amazing. So.
I'll be honest though, I kind of wish that native wouldn't have been allowed at the tower. I would have really been interested to see the decks that were actually built without native, especially with how hard it was to actually get some product, depending on where you were, what if you'd done a pre-order with a partner or anything like that. I do I mean, I'm glad that they did, because again, it did actually force everyone to play, or everyone that did play, to really think on their feet, to really try to put something together using these new cards. But at the same time, it would have been really cool, in my opinion, to try to maybe see what could have happened before. Because like I said, there was a lot, and I see why they wanted to use native, because there's a lot of power for Earth in Native. I mean, Native is the Earth set, if you will. But yeah, I would have been interested to see what the overall meta would have been in the tower if it actually wouldn't have included Native.
I have a quick question for you. So when they initially announced Terra bonuses, what was your opinion on that? Were you like, oh, this is going to make things interesting, or was that like, I wish they didn't do that?
You mean for the towers in general, like back in January or whenever that was? Okay, yeah. Yeah, looking forward to it. Like I was pretty hyped. Yeah, with triple Terra bonuses, we knew the games were going to be a lot faster, and we immediately were looking at Water Tower right away, and like there's a 1-drop that hits for 90 now, and it was crazy. But yeah, we had already started looking at the format before that, and it wasn't great without it. Like the only card that could do real damage in that format was Chessie, and so everyone's deck was just get Chessie and put lightning in a bottle on it, and that was the only thing you could do in the format. So the triple Terra bonus really improved that one, I think.
Awesome.
Nice.
So let me see here.
So what are your plans moving forward? Are you just focus on Flame Tower on Flame? Are you already working on Flame and everything like that?
Yeah, we started it. We don't know what Terra bonus is going to be active yet. I was pretty good at guessing the ones for Earth Tower. I think it's a little trickier for this one. I'm not sure if they're going to, which
Flame has a lot more Terra bonuses that they could use in Essence.
Yeah, definitely. Also, like a lot of the cards have daytime, but a lot of the cards also have nighttime. Like, are we going to see them put day and night at the same time? Because that doesn't, make sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that'd be weird. So it's a tough call they gotta make there, and it's hard to predict what they're gonna do.
One thing that I like, once I really thought about the towers and stuff, see, I always assumed like most people like had their specific aura type that they like to play, and that's what they would play. And I'm sure that's true in certain things, but I think it's cool that it actually, like, let's say there's an aura type that somebody really didn't particularly play or pay much attention to or something like that. This kind of allows everybody to see what each aura type has to offer. Like, so for me personally, like I never really messed with any Earth aura beasties. Like that just wasn't my thing. I know a lot of people that would play things and they would burrow and do all that stuff, and that really wasn't the way I looked at it. But again, I'm a novice, right? I really don't know that much. So do you think it's with the tower formats and things like that, has that caused you to dig into other aura types as well, or are you already doing that without the tower format?
I did it a little bit without it, but this definitely has me going back through because all the rules are changed now. Triple Terra bonuses, gotta dig through every single card all over again. Yeah, and that's honestly, I love that. That's that's what I live for in any card game is deck building, and that's probably why I'm doing well at the towers. Is because this is my favorite thing: is coming up with a deck for some wild format. Wild format where it's not known what people are going to be doing. There's no established metagame. I love that.
Are you the type of guy that like it bothers you when you can't figure something out, or you gotta like you know what I mean? Like that's how
probably
I am.
True.
Yeah, it'll drive me nuts if I'm like I gotta figure this out, and I'll overanalyze and dig into it. So
yeah, that's me. I gotta crack the format. I gotta figure this. Yeah. Yeah,
gotta crack the code. Hey, you gotta crack the code just like I cracked the lore and figure out the secrets. You gotta figure out the secrets of the cards, man. So I am curious about this. So because I just thought of this actually because we were talking about the Towers format. With the Towers format actually being 3-time Terra bonuses and Caster's Cup most likely not being that, what are your thoughts when it comes to being able to defend your title? I mean, because I believe all of the Tower casters are going to actually get put into the top 32, I believe, of Caster's Cup. I'm not sure.
That's what I heard.
But what are your thoughts on having to build a viable Earth deck now? Not saying like we'll talk to you in the future if you win any of the other towers, but not having those 3-time Terra bonuses. Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot different. It'll be another challenge. We don't know what the rules for that are gonna be yet. Like how many, how much, what counts as representing Earth. Like how many cards do I have to play, and what my limitations are gonna be for making that deck. But I'm all about that. Even if I have to play a deck that's not like the deck I want to be playing, like the number one deck, being in the top 32 and getting to slug it out with like a pretty good deck is going to be fun for me.
Nice. I don't think we asked you this either. How many cards did you run in your spellbook at Earth?
40 exactly.
Okay.
40.
So,
I gotta say, I think that is the way to go.
Is keep it at 40?
Yeah, I would have to say I'm pretty confident that it's not worth you, because you'd go to 45, right, the other way if you want to increase your it just doesn't.
That's you running artifacts and everything as well too.
Artifacts. I haven't been playing the mana rocks. For this one, I gotta say it was like a coin flip for me whether I was gonna play him or not. I still don't know whether it was right to play him for the Earth Tower. I was pretty happy not playing them at the Water Tower.
Okay.
I don't really attribute that much of my success to that, though. I think it's because you rob your opponent the chance to absorb RRU, but it's kind of like a little guessing game there about whether they're going to have it or whether they're not going to have it.
See, that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know what that seems to be one of the big staples actually because I only ran one of them actually at Water Tower, and I was glad I did because I was able to use it every single game. But it does seem like Absorb Aura is almost a staple now in most tower decks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I actually played 0 artifacts, like 0 of the 0 mana artifacts, and I played 2 Absorb Aura just to get off my opponents.
Nice.
Just because of how many people are playing it. Like I don't know if I do that again for the other ones, but
it gives them cards that they're gonna hold on to, and that's I forget the way somebody explained it, but they basically said that every card you have over 40 in your spell book is like another chance at not pulling a card you need. So you want to keep it at the 40 mark because you have a higher probability of pulling the cards that you need.
Yeah, there were a couple cards that were just so powerful in this format, like the Cardiff Giant or Keywalk. Like, you want to draw those cards every single game, and when you go above 45, you're decreasing your chances of drawing them. You got to keep it at 40, I think.
Were you 40 cards at Water Tower as well?
Yeah. 40 main deck, 15.
See, that's what I mean. Consistency. Abel Jacoby, consistency.
It's been wild. I don't know. Some element has been luck. Like I am getting lucky, but yeah, I mean, I'm proud of myself. For what I've been doing.
Again, I know, and I'm not just trying to blow smoke at you, but like, you can say it was luck as much as you want, but again, at the end of the day, you still played the cards the way that you played them. And I'm talking about both events, not just here at Earth, but you played the cards the way that you played them in order to put yourself in a position to where you were able to place the way you have. So again, don't diminish what you've accomplished, because it is very impressive again that you were able to place second at Water and then take the Earth Tower. I can't wait to actually see what you do at Flame in Dallas too. Are you? By the way, I forgot to ask. Are you guys driving from Pennsylvania?
I don't think we're driving this time.
Okay.
Hopefully never again.
Oh well, hopefully you
Yeah.
can get that check from MetaZoo, and you can just buy yourself some plane tickets. That way, you don't actually have to drive in 22 hours. I don't know. That could be fun though. I mean, rent an RV or so, and all of you guys can bebop out there in the RV.
I don't know. It was an experience. Yeah.
You know, go to the plane, and then afterwards you can just like hop, skip, and a jump over to Vegas. Like, I mean, it's probably like another 16 hours, but then you got like a 35-hour trip back to Pennsylvania. That's a story to tell the grandkids.
So they're always like to go. I know you keep mentioning like luck, and there is an aspect of luck to just playing MetaZoo in general. Because I mean, what if when you're playing your first 3 matches, you're just not pulling what you need to pull at all? Like you're just having terrible luck. But at the same time, you do notice that a lot of the same players will wind up in the top 32 pretty consistently. So there's an aspect of luck, but there's clearly strategy in that for casters to remain, in top 32 at each tower event. Now, I'll see some casters who, placed in the top 8 in one tower, and then they'll place 80th in the next one, but again, it goes back to what you were saying with the luck portion of the drawing and things like that. But I still think at the end of the day, you're exercising enough, talent, and you've obviously put in the work to make it work. But I do agree that there is an aspect of luck, but don't take away from yourself with coming in second at water, coming in first at earth.
You're a force to be reckoned with, my friend, and just don't diminish yourself.
I want to take that. I know a lot, and I know it sounds like you don't want to come off as arrogant and things like that, and that's awesome of you. But like, your name is going to be, pretty popular name as far as when it comes to these tower events, man. You've kind of solidified that already. So, it's congrats.
It's been wild. Thank you. I don't know what to say. You were talking about like people drawing bad hands and while also seeing other people in the top 32. Anybody can have a bad tournament. There's another guy on our team got 3rd place at the water tower. He didn't make it in the top 32 this time. Like, it can happen. It's not like no one's immune to it, and that's why I'm saying that I got lucky. But certainly there is almost always something you can do. There's usually something you can do. That's probably a better way to say it.
I get what you're saying, because you're saying it's all luck of the draw. But again, at the end of the day, going back to you and the way you were talking about deck construction, it's not just about luck of the draw. It's about how you build the spell book in order to make it to work for you. It's how you pick the cards in the spell book to be able to manipulate it to get a certain outcome that you want. And that's the thing that you have clearly demonstrated that you have a good grasp on, is how to manipulate a spell book to be able to make it perform the way that you want it to work, to be able to pull out the W. Because, I mean, you can have the best spell book in the world, but if you don't know how it works and you don't know the little intricacies on this will do this for me, which then allows me to do that, like that's the stuff that I wish I had a hat on, but hats off to you, my guy, because I can clearly see, and you demonstrated that you have a very firm grasp on how that operates, like how to actually successfully build a deck to make it have an objective that you want to then complete. So,
I didn't mean to say that this is all luck at all. That's not what I was trying to say.
No.
What I'm trying to say is like you can have a bad tournament. Even good players can have a bad tournament, or a tournament where you are just unlucky. It's possible. You open those however many boxes and didn't hit a single one, and then you hit like however many in a row, like you were talking about. That you can go on streaks like that, and it can happen. And like right now, this is probably me being a good player and on a lucky streak. It's those two things together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't expect to be playing in the finals at the next tower. I'm not that
you will be.
good. It can't. Okay. Right. Anything less than second place and first or second place is just a failure for me now. I can't have to just keep this up forever.
Man, that's still, man. That's yeah. I mean, that's what every time I lose, I just say, I didn't get the cards I drew. Game worked against me. So that's
I try to turn every loss into actually something that I learned. Like, I pulled a really big rookie mistake at the Earth Tower, and I was so focused on the opponent's beasties and their life points that I ignored the Aurifacts. And I realized around round 5 or 6 what I was doing, and that it cost me almost every single game because again, novice, super rookie mistake. But knowing that now, moving forward, if I go to another tower, any sort of event or anything, I know I don't know. I learned actually at Water to not be afraid to mulligan, and I learned at Earth to always go after the Aurifacts. So
yeah, those are good lessons, and that's the main advice I would give to like new players who are trying to get better is just play, just keep playing, keep pushing forward, and don't be afraid to change up your strategy. Don't fall into the trap of blaming it all on luck. Like, it is possible to get unlucky, but there's usually something you can do. There usually is a line you can take. This game is deep enough for that. You have options.
No, that's super solid advice. I can't think of anything else to ask this man. I've picked his brain. I feel like I've learned so much. I need to process some of this. I need to go back and actually rewatch this interview too to retain some of this because I feel like we've gotten a lot of good info from Abel.
Absolutely.
Anything else you can think of though, my friend, that you'd like to ask him? Anybody in chat have any questions they want to ask real quick? We got probably about like 5-10 minutes or so before we got to cut it out.
Yeah, hey, and great comments through the chat tonight, guys.
Yeah,
great comments. Love it.
I can click over here and read the comments. Didn't know that. Oops.
Yep.
I'm such a bad host. I should have told him that. I didn't even think about it. All right. Well, I mean, Abel, my man, thank you for coming on here. Thank you for actually letting me pick your brain. Oh, yeah. Actually, actually wants to know: Can Grim deck win Dark Tower?
Well, we'll wait and see what's out by then. We got another set coming up before then, right? And that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough.
A new Grim actually coming out by then too. I don't know. Grim might be in war. We don't know. Koala actually has a one. What would be some tips to help build a team?
I mean, you have to tell me that because we didn't even have a real team.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I don't know that I can give advice on that. Yeah, I mean, whoever's around you, I guess the people at your card shop get together, try and make a night of it. If you're talking about like testing, yeah, you gotta set aside the time and test for these events.
For sure. Yeah, I didn't do that for Earth, and it really showed. Well, because we didn't get any native actually. We didn't get any native. We were one of like the 6 partners or so that didn't get any, and so Mike actually sent me some cards that I bought from him and opened, but they didn't get here in time, and so it was a mad scramble to actually get any sort of native, and I literally had probably maybe 2 hours of play testing in the hotel, and I wish I would have been more familiar actually with the cards hardcore. You need to make sure you're familiar with the cards. You need to know exactly what every single card does, what the life points and the attack are for them, including the terror bonuses. You need to put in that time.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been great. Yeah. Thanks for having me on the show.
Not a problem, my guy. Thank you so much for being here. Like you've been great. I feel like I've like I said, I've learned a lot. I need to go back and actually rewatch this just so I can make sure I can retain it. But I'm excited to see what you can do in Flame. I'm excited to see what you actually. I really want to look at your decks now after each of the towers just to kind of study them because I really like the idea that you are very deck tech structured. So like I said, I'm really excited for the rest of the year and actually kind of seeing what you can piece together for some of the towers leading up to Casters Cup as well.
All right, yeah.
Good talk. Last thing I want to say too, man, is the one thing that I like about it is, and again, yeah, congrats on your victory, and but you seem to hold a very humble attitude towards it, and I think that's probably the greatest part about it, and I think, because it, every time, we're congratulating you or saying something, you can tell like you're not all ego filled about it, and you're not like, you know what I mean, and you're almost making excuses for yourself as to why you got where you got, and it's really cool to see somebody accomplish something so big and then not let it go straight to their head. So you do not come off. I love your attitude about the winning, man. So congrats again, and thanks for coming on the show and talking to us, man.
Yeah, thank you for being who you are in the community. Like I thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Yeah, good talk.
All right.
I guess that's it.
That's it.
All right. But yeah, my name is Turmentic. Over here is I messed up. I did it again. That way. That is Mike CNO from TCG Island. Once again, thank you, Abel Jacoby, for joining us here on Let's Talk MetaZoo. Again, Abel Jacoby, he is the first ever Earth Tower caster for the Tower Circuit that MetaZoo Games started this year in 2023. Thank you again, Abel. I'll make sure to post up something about what we're doing next week, because I'm pretty sure we'll have some sort of a show next week as well. But thank you, everybody in the chat that showed up. Huge shout out to Dean. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate each and every single one of you. And again, Abel, can't wait to see what you can accomplish over the next couple months over the year leading up to Casters Cup. But everybody have a wonderful night, and I guess we will see you next time.
Catch you on the next Let's Talk MetaZoo.
Later on, guys.